factional leaders to return to Liberia. I was not able to get one or two of the political leaders to return, and I think they helped to provoke the situation. I was able to do a whole lot. Strangely, the LPC, these were all warring factions, and all of the other warring factions, I was able to bring them into government. In fact, most of the combatants that fought for the government during the war were the combatants of the warring factions that fought against me. So I accomplished bringing them together. I accomplished making sure that the issue of tribalism went away in Liberia. But I mean, to a great extent, I think most Liberians now, if you went to Liberia and took a poll, they would say Mr. Taylor did his best.
Any other regrets?
The second regret is that I was never able to get the United States to understand me. I was never able to get them to work with me, which is so essential for Liberia. No president of Liberia, no president can make it successfully unless he is online with Washington. Now, I am not the type of guy that you can pick up a telephone and command. I don't take that. I didn't take that from Washington. Then, even if I were elected president, I would not take it. I'm not that kind. I'm not a coward. But I do believe that a good working relationship is essential for any president of Liberia, or that president will fail.
These things could happen behind the scenes. So I supported Joseph Parker, knowing that by 2023 he'll be tired. Okay. Knowing that 2023 he'll be tired, he could have a good heart, everything good, but the brain is going down. You're not holding the end, you're moving down the hill. This is nature. My father, right now, I buy him paper. Every day I got to buy him paper. There's a man who bought me paper before. I'm buying paper now because the time has reached. So I thought the owner could be president in 2017 and run for this. And he sincerely said, when you run for one term, he sincerely, I agree with him. 2023, no, I disagree. In my mind, he should rest, find somebody else.
I'm filled with a profound sense of gratitude and humility. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your president and commander-in-chief for the past 6 years. Together, in 2018, we embarked on a journey to build a united, peaceful, and prosperous Liberia. And I am deeply thankful for the trust and support you have bestowed upon me and my administration during my tenure. As we navigate the complexity of governance, the partnership was instrumental in the development and implementation of policies and programs that aim to bring progress and development to our great nation. Reflecting on the accomplishment of these 6 years, let me tell you that I am proud of what we have achieved together. We have built roads, supported free wires and free tuition at high schools and public universities, stabilized the macroeconomic challenges we face in 2018, built hundreds of affordable housing units, and achieved on so many fronts that we are able to list here today. However, I acknowledge that there is always room for improvement, and perhaps more could have been done under different circumstances. Regrettably, some of the long-term projects we initiated did not reach completion during my tenure. I am hopeful that the incoming administration will carry the torch forward and bring these initiatives to fruition for the benefit of all Liberians. Fellow compatriots, rumors and misinformation have played a large part in our politics over the last 6 years. It is my hope we as a country will overcome this challenge over the next 6 years. To begin this, we must start with the facts of the transition. I must report to you that we are leaving behind a better economy than we inherited. Today, President-elect Joseph Dimabwaka will inherit a stronger economy than I inherited. There is a big bigger net international reserve position than was handed me in 2018. I inherited $94,999,000 United States dollars in net international reserves. And I am handing over to the next administration a net international reserve position and the hope that lies in the future of Liberia. As we welcome a new era, let us move forward hands in hand and with a shared commitment to building a united nation that will continue to strive on observing the tenets of democracy and adhering to the rule of law. May God bless you all, and may God continue to bless the Republic of Liberia.
Those who go to speech, in nation, everybody happy. We are rejoicing over the defeat of the old regime. We are rejoicing about our effort to bring a new regime. Then we sit down with happiness. We go write paper for that 79-year-old man. He's talking to me. Hey, before that, I will tell you United Nation, I will tell US, I will bring one for here. Because you think one for I'm Johnson, I will tell you open up really. When you come and say,
when you elect a clown and you think that he will be a king, what he does is to convert the kingdom into a circus. This is what we must deal with, and this is what we must say. Who do we elect into our public office? Because, as I've said before, when you allow hyenas to take care of goats, why should you be surprised when the goats are eaten? This is the same. And Africa is only going to realize the potential in all areas when, by dint of choice, we enable and allow our best men and women to serve in different areas. I've heard it being said about Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. I've heard it being suggested about Mahathir Mohamad in Malaysia. I've heard it being said about Japan. I've heard it being said about other countries. But there was a conscious decision on the part of those individuals and the followership. We always talk about leaders, but we never talk about the followers. The followers must also style up. Africans on average are for some reason attracted to thieves. Africans are for some reason attracted to men and women who cannot serve her. And when they are not served, then they complain. When Africans are told, choose you now whom we shall release, Jesus of Nazareth or Barabbas, they say, release Barabbas. And when Barabbas behaves like Barabbas, they say, why are you not behaving like Christ? It cannot be done.
In May of 2001, signed a second of two executive orders, number 13213, Defense Exhibit D310, in which it was stated, and I quote, the government of Liberia's complicity in the RUF's illicit trade in diamonds and its other forms of support for the RUF are direct challenges to the United States foreign policy objectives in the region, as well as the rule-based international order that is critical to the peace and prosperity of the United States. Therefore, I find these actions by the government of Liberia contribute to the unusual and extraordinary threat to the foreign policy of the United States described in Executive Order 13194, with respect to which the President declared a national emergency. This executive order did not say the alleged complicity, it concluded the complicity. The conspiracy was born, all systems put into motion, and here I stand today. I never stood a chance. This is the broader contextual matrix that regrettably did not and still has not seen the light of day in these proceedings, despite the gallant efforts by the defense to unearth and reveal the contextual framework behind the charges against me. Now, with the two executive orders, the dogs were let out, so to speak. What followed was a dispatch of the attack pack led by Lieutenant Colonel David Crane, Defense Intelligence, 30 years, prosecutor. He, Crane, unlawfully unsealed the court's sealed indictment to his handlers, senior U.S. government officials at the U.S. Embassy in Freetown, and was never held to account. The rest of the operational team are Colonel Brandon Hollis, Defense Intelligence, CIA, U.S. Air Force, Senior Trial Counsel, and now prosecutor. James C. Johnson, U.S. Army expert, 20 years on conventional and special operations, Chief of Prosecutions for the SCSL. Alan White, 30 years, Defense Intelligence, recalled from retirement to head up investigations at the Special Court of Sierra Leone. Stephen J. Rapp came on board as chief prosecutor for a short time of experience from Capitol Hill, where he served with the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee sometime before. It came as no surprise to me that as a reward of sorts for Stephen Rapp's diligence in the execution of U.S. foreign policy objectives through these ad hoc tribunals, he was appointed U.S. Ambassador at large for war crimes issues. In support of the contextual framework of politics, on February 8, 2006, Lieutenant Colonel David Crane, prosecutor, appeared before a U.S. Congress Subcommittee on Africa, Defense Exhibit D-404, and spelled out in clear terms the decision taken in support of regime change in Liberia and what needed to happen to solidify that process. There was little mention, if any, in his testimony about Sierra Leone. And here is what he said. I posted that 5 years from now, when the international community is challenged by other crises, Taylor in Calabar, under the protection of Nigeria, will make his move. We will wake up one morning and watch on CNN as Taylor rides triumphantly down the main street in Monrovia to the executive mansion, daring all of us to come and get him. Unless he is handed over to the special court for Sierra Leone, this scenario is not out of the realm of possibilities. He then asked, how do we assure Liberia's future? And he answers that. Ultimately, he says, what we do about Taylor in the next several weeks will determine the fate of Liberia and the new administration of its president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Crane then sets out several plans, two of which I'll state here. He said, first, hand Charles Taylor over to the special court for Sierra Leone for a fair trial, his kind of trial. This takes him out of the local and regional dynamics that is West Africa. Second, tie any financial and political support to good governance in Liberia. Time does not permit, but the exhibits are present. Not even the Nigerian nation was spared from threats and intimidation, as explained by Femi Kayode, press secretary to President Obasanjo, the Nigerian head of state, who was with him in Washington when President George W. Bush promised, and I quote, to bring Nigeria to its knees if Taylor was not turned over to the special court. And what happened? Obasanjo buckled and capitulated. Now, this demonstrates the significant pressure that was brought to bear on President Obasanjo, irrespective of his personal and leadership obligations to the West African sub-region. And therein lies the dilemma for current African heads of state and government, but how to enter into binding commitments and obligations with the African pairs and remain steadfast, resolute, and unyielding in their fidelity to those agreements in the face of such unrelenting and punishing pressure from powerful Western leaders.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop slipping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know y'all sleeping now. Y'all gotta wake up small, yeah? Okay, let's go.
And here we don't require you to raise your hands. All you have to do, make sure your radios are charged. Your smartphones are fully charged and recharged. Or whatsoever you are using to monitor us and follow the show is up, strong, active, and effective. To ensure that you join us tonight, because it promises to be good, interesting as always, firing.
So why does you lie? Why does you steal? Why does you lie? There's tendencies to be. See, we just tell you that why we both tell you.
Where you see wrong or inequality or injustice speak out
The question that we ask,
where you see wrong or injustice or inequality. Speak out. Speak out because it is your country. Speak out because this is your democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on. I can go over that again if you wish. Where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out. Speak out because it is your country. It bullies on your country. It affects your country. This is your democracy. So speak out. Make it. Protect it. Pass it on. Because if you don't speak out, if you don't make it, if you don't protect it, you will not be able to pass it on. Or in case you are passing it on in the wrong context, you will be passing over a terrible system to the generation after you. This is the foundational purpose for which we sacrifice to join you every night and engage on the issues that matter the most to all of us who are affected by the terrible performance of our leaders. It may not necessarily be all of them, but the system does not seem to be working for us. Because Liberians continue to complain about poverty.
Indeed, and now you need to deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why does you
Lack of access to basic social services.
we just tell you
But anyway,
that
let me say a very, very, very pleasant good evening to all of you across the country.
you use us.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those of you in the diaspora,
Why?
our friends,
We
our fans, our followers, our critics, and even those of you who do not like the things we say and the way we say them.
the people tired with their rhetoric.
It's good to have all of you joining us tonight.
We ask why the government betrayed us.
Extremely important issues to talk about tonight.
No war for people crying for help.
What are we hearing about the return of John
So
Molu?
your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing.
We have to raise these red flags
What makes you lie? Why? But that's the question that we ask.
every time decisions are taken in violation of our laws. We have to raise the red flag. John Molu is returning to the country, we are told reliably. As a matter of fact, a press conference was held today, and that pronouncement was made by Augustine Gaffron. Why is he returning to the country? This is something we intend to talk about in detail tomorrow, but we have to give you a summary update to that tonight on the show. This matter, but plus many other issues. We have an interesting documentary to play tonight, because tonight we want to do a reflective analysis of our political and governance system in our country, where we've come from as a country, where we are today. It's important we remind all of us, including the younger generation that is after us, that came after us,
So why does you
who may not have an understanding of where we came from
just tell you
and how did we get where we are today. So we will play you a documentary tonight
use us a little?
that saw the execution of 13 former officials of our government.
Why? But that's the question that we with their rhetoric. People tired. You see the reason why we ask what the government
And start
enough for time, but yeah, them
to reflect.
people suffer. No war for people.
Yes, it's important we do this comparative analysis, reflecting on where we've come from as a country.
Oh, you got nothing to
My name is Austin Kawa.
so why? The government should lie. Why?
The fellow you see on my left, his name is Junkins Morris. For those of you watching us via our Facebook page.
The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much.
Very shortly, we take a word from our sponsor, Cram Stepper Liberia. And after that break, we go to our Facebook Live feed
Government betray us.
to speak
Lies against thee, they go now.
with those of you joining us tonight via the Facebook Live. You stick and stay with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a jiffy.
Yo, hello. I want to talk about violence. More violence is indiscriminate. It can happen for any reason and to anyone. Until we do something to stop the sort of vigilante-side justice in this country, none of us will be saved. My Liberia is Liberia of hope. In my Liberia, it is possible. Violence is not part of my Liberia. Violence leads to property damage, injury, or even death, as we have seen in recent months in several parts of Liberia, including Monrovia. Talk to people in your community about violence. Stand up against mob justice. Be a community hero. Liberia is all that we have. We must all unite to uphold the rule of law. This is Old Man Sam Sion, your community crime fighting partner. Thanks for listening. This is Old Man Sam Sion.
Thank you very much, Omen Sam Sion. This is Freedom Hard Talk. Junkins Morris, good evening to you, my dear brother. How are you doing tonight?
Good evening, Austin, and good evening to the many listeners that always follow this brilliant platform, Freedom Hard Talk. Yeah, on Freedom FM 87.9. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all of you, whatever medium you are using to follow. Also, good evening.
Good to be back. Let's see. We'll see a lot of folks. Eldridge Thomas. He said, thanks, guys, for the show. Following from Lower Virginia, Banya, President Street. Stanley Bosso is joining us tonight. He says, a very pleasant greetings to the peace-loving citizens of Mama Liberia, watching live from our residence in Congress City. I'm Stanley Bozo, okay? Where is that? Congress City, where is that? Where is Congress City? Okay. Dubon Hill is joining us tonight from Charlotte in the US. Dakin Anderson is joining us from Clarendon. Henry Toll Jr. Good evening, my Freedom FM family. I'm following you up from my residence in Upper Cardwell. Thanks for the update. Jordan Sekou Dule is following tonight. He says, I'm watching you from Bakidu Township, that's Squado Boning District in Lofa. Hezekiah Doe is joining us tonight. He says from Broville in District 17. Charles Dolobapu is joining us. So he says, great man in studio, and saying facts about Liberia. Musa Sharif, I'm watching live from New Georgia, Garnersville. Mantonian son, I'm following live from Garnersville tonight. He said, I want to coach out the money. So what are doing? Water. And the girl said $10 LD for the water plastic. Emmanuel Bro is following. Good evening, Austin Kawa, Junkins Morris, and my fellow viewers. As always, I'm watching from Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. This Tuesday, May 19, Linda Morris watching. Kopwe Wida. I'm following from Kakata, Magibi County, Desiree Waters. Good evening, Freedom FM 87.9. Judy Wonwe. Good evening, guys. I'm following. Yes, Judy is good. He's asking his colleagues to share the show. It's important you do that. Honorable Robert Doe. Good evening, everyone. Saturday Wondule. So he's watching from Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S. Venetia's Junior Bar is watching from New Kutan. Abdullah Dukle is watching from Kuala Bonin District, Lofa County. Favor Morris, she says, hello, Austin and Junkins. Uh, Maliu Fofana says, I'm following from 20th Street. Uh, okay, Musa Sharif says, good evening. I'm watching you live from Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Aliyu Kamara, Haga, Stephen Fala. It's been a while, Stephen. Good evening, great men. I'm watching you from Garlandsville, Chicken Soup Factory. Sekou Fufana, watching from Spain. Jerry Yue is watching from Point 4 Junction. David Gofa is following from District number 11. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador Abu Suleimani Sayon is following from good evening, JY A and G. I'm watching from New London, Broadville. I'm not in Broadville. I know that other community called New London. You need to introduce me to that community. Lorenzo Tucker, good evening. I'm watching from Maryland, Hartford. That's Junkins, Morris's Terrain. Tyler Bowie is watching from Dupont Road. And J. Henry Nye is following from Fender Community. A lot to talk about tonight, Junkies. Let's give some updates from the quotes, and then we can move into our main conversation. I think I shared some stuff in the room, so we can provide some updates from the quotes, especially the case involving Yeke Koluba, the case involving Samuel Toe, and all of that. And so let's
Yeah, because I think the case involving Representative Yeke Koluba on tomorrow by 3:30, an opinion the bit of information filed by Honorable Yeke Koluba will be rendered. The justice in chambers, His Honor Yusuf Kaba. I think we'll be bringing that matter here to a logical conclusion.
so we can wait for the hearing tomorrow. I mean, for the ruling tomorrow. But what we know should be happening tomorrow in the Yeke case is that we are already receiving some strong signals and intel from the grounds or the corridors of the Supreme Court that Yeke is a former lawmaker. And yes, we have to say that.
Yeah.
We have to be clear. Based on the information we have received from the courts, especially the Supreme Court, Yeke is a former lawmaker. We may not like it, okay, but Yeke himself has said to us we must respect the ruling from the court. He has said to us that he are going to that same Supreme Court. And one case is there. So the governor is using the precedence that Yeke had been to that court on multiple occasions. He has emerged victorious in his cases.
Sure.
And so this one may not give him enough ground to cry fair play. So since the president wants Yeke out of the legislature, let's use this as a sufficient ground to rule against him.
Yeah.
So the court tomorrow might, according to our source, Yeke will uphold the decision from the House of Representatives, and one ground that may be used by the court in the ruling tomorrow is that social media is an official platform that is used or that can be used to serve notice. And so the chief clerk will have a grant. The chief clerk has said she didn't receive in your office the notice from the Supreme Court, but the person who signed acknowledged that she received it.
Yeah. And the person is from her office.
And then the information was on social media. So the court, according to our intel, use that as sufficient ground to say you can have no case on matter, to hold no ground to hold Major Zion liable for for informing the body that she didn't receive any citation or notice from the court. So it's hard to say, but Yeke will be a former lawmaker. The Supreme Court will rule against Yeke tomorrow. Yeke will be a former lawmaker. That I can see. I can tell you that one. Yeah, that's what happened. The courts, and I said it yesterday, Reggie. Look, I don't trust the judiciary, the current heads, the current structure of the judiciary
No
is
confidence.
nothing to have confidence in. It's nothing to trust. It's a lucky ticketing because the courts are being used by the president to rule or take decisions in his favor. This is sad. What do we do? Go to war? No.
No.
Take arms? No.
No.
Destroy our infrastructures? No way. Live in fear? Better. Better. It's better to live in fear and keep all the citizens quiet in their corners as they struggle to find daily bread and wait until 2029 they go and take a decision. Than to get angry and take to the streets and start to destroy people's properties and all of the government's properties and all of that. That is not something we are prepared or going to support. The government is not allowing anybody to protest against her actions or her decisions. The government is not allowing the courts to rule independently. You see the case with Samuel Toy. Yeke, all we can say is, Yeke, take heart, go and rest, come back 2029 and compete. That's all we can say. Waka does not want you in that building.
Eh, they may finish with you.
You will not go there. If we explain some of the things that happened, even the statement that Waka made during the COPA situation, how he will work with the majority, those were not Waka's, true minds. Those were not his thoughts. Those were words that were written by lawmakers from the Senate. And so Mr. President will sit down, you read it before we go. Because they didn't want him there. We feel for our country. We also should respect the president. That's fine to respect any president. But the president will have to be a listening person. At this point, can he listen? No. I will tell you why he can't listen. He will not listen because he doesn't have the capacity to listen. The president doesn't have the capacity to listen. The president does not just have the capacity to listen. The president will not listen. So we have to accept any decision that is influenced by members in the legislature using the president's corridor, using the president's plan to influence the courts to render decisions against people who are perceived to be opponents of the government. It's clear. So Yeke, we're sorry. We're sorry, but you can be a lawmaker again for the next 3.5 years. I'm not joking. You can be a lawmaker. We're sorry to say that. We're sorry to announce tonight that Yeke will not be a lawmaker anymore. He can't go back to Capitol building until 2029. It is unfortunate that we are making this pronouncement, but this is the reality. It is unfortunate. It is terribly sad.
Like,
It is
is
a
gone.
dangerous path for our democracy, but the truth must be told. Yeke is gone. He's no more a representative. He cannot be a representative. The House will notify NEC of his vacancy next week. Next week, the National Elections Commission will begin the process of conducting by-election for to fill in the vacancy in District 10. Yeke is no more. He's a former lawmaker. As sad as it sounds, but he's no more. This is the democracy that we have. I don't know whether it's a democracy. I know that doesn't have true democracy. But this is the kind of democracy that we have. It's a semi-authoritarian democracy. Yes, that's what we are. That's how, yeah, it's a semi-authoritarian democracy.
We're living with it.
And we're going to live with this system for the next 3 years plus. So tonight, we are officially bidding Yeke farewell to the from the legislature. It was now seeing him in the house.
He
In
did
some
well.
cases, it was unfortunate seeing him there. I'm not a fan of him. I've never been a fan of him. I'm not too sure I can ever be a fan of him. But that's his space. That's his star. That's his star. I think our democracy should be so tolerant to people that Yeke.
Yeah, at least the continents
We
people
don't
that
have
Yeke.
to like him. His star. I don't like his star.
Unlike the one with Prophet Key,
Eh.
but Yeke.
No, even the one Yeke. Even the come man. Yeah. So what is the difference between the two men? In as much as I do not like his star, I mean, I would love to see a Yeke that will be robust, very critical in his adjectives and things, but not the invectives. No, not the invectives.
Because
But-
up or nothing.
But I can tolerate his star. I don't like his star, but I can tolerate his star. Because our democracy must have a mixture of people. Our democracy must be able to tolerate people with diverse views, opinions, with extreme views. In fact, look, there are democracies with extremists. Yes,
I think one time, President Trump described Bernie Sanders as an
so
extremist.
yes, there are democracies with extremists. They express themselves beyond human imagination, beyond the regular civilized standard, that we are accustomed to. But what do? Kill them? Beat them? Chase them out? No. We have to tolerate people. We don't have to elect them. Like me, I don't elect him. I don't like his style. But I have to tolerate him.
Sure.
People elected him legally. You think those people they think the people didn't get sense? You think that crazy people voted for Yeke? The very people who are chasing Yeke out today were the people who took into his district to vote for him.
Vote for him.
So they are not mad people. The current information minister, you heard how he described Yeke. You heard the current information minister at the time in opposition telling you that he would prefer voting for Yeke over his man, even if his mother was contesting against Yeke.
Yeah,
he
he would have
prefer voting for
chosen
Yeke
Yeke
over his
over
mother.
his man.
At the time, Yeke was using the worst of words and phrases and adjectives describing George Weah, his wife, and the vice president. So that system, oh no, we are tolerated. The system they didn't like Yeke. And I can say to you, George, that they didn't like Yeke Star. CDC people they didn't like Yeke Star. We didn't like his star, but we tolerated him. The system tolerated him and considered him an extremist. Nobody beat him up. He challenged police authority in the street.
He even went to court thrice and won
And
all
won.
those cases.
Nobody
Well,
called to
nobody.
telephone calling calls, manipulating calls to I mean guilty. Nobody talk nobody ever spoke about impeaching Yeke.
And also, I think it was democracy at the height.
Yes, tolerance. A
Very
democracy that
important.
does not have an inch, that does not have a space to encourage an inch of tolerance, that cannot be considered a democracy. That's why they use the word. They didn't say acceptance. They said tolerance. You don't have to accept the man's view, but you have to tolerate
Tolerate
the
it.
view. This is democracy.
Because the space is provided
Yes.
for all freely.
That's what democracy is about. So when you hear people saying, my man, Larry, have a quiet when your code is speaking, be patient, allow your colleague to speak, to lay on his thought, to lay on his view, allow him to express his opinion. He may not be right or you may not agree with him, but that's his opinion. Let's respect his opinion. That's the tolerance he's talking about. He may not be right. He may be providing misleading information. So what do? Chasing out? Shutting out? No. After you have provided the misleading information, you have a space to correct. Democracy. Tolerance. So it's a farewell to Yeke. Nice doing business with you as a
As a
representative,
representative.
and we hope to do business with you as a representative in 2020, in 2030. It may sound painful to some, but we have to accept the reality on the ground. So the Sabbath thing case is so dramatic that I actually did not want to talk about because at times it gets crazy, you have to wonder whether we have people with greens, people with spoken enough about tolerance, and we will keep emphasizing on tolerance and all of that. But tolerance is not the only thing. The rule of law is on the basis of facts. If no branch of our government should be seen as an independent body, the judiciary is supposed to be seen as an independent body. If our judiciary, especially so the Supreme Court, cannot strive to project itself as an independent body, to say that criminal code A make the mistake, that criminal code B, C make the mistake, or be seen or viewed as a partial body. This high court that is the final or that is supposed to be the final or that is seen as the final arbiter of justice will allow itself to be arm twisted towards the executive mansion in favor of the president's feelings and opinions. This is a dangerous path for our democracy. This is a dangerous path for our country. Completely dangerous. And let's read this essay from the So Councillor Lavia ruled the piece, and this is what he said. What Jovi tried to do that Punch FM yes. Listen, Charlie. people are junkie with the be single warrior.
For us, but we are considered the slum dwellers. So that you're in the civil area, I only have a phone.
So this is what Councillor Laviagu wrote. He said, a few things to know about this ruling. The court will fix siege of a matter of jure tempore if one of the parties one of the parties brings it to the attention of the court during the trial or immediately after the discharge of the jury. Sorry, I'll read that again. There's a question. The court will take siege of a matter of jure tempore if one of the parties brings to the attention of the court during the trial or immediately after the discharge of the jury. Secondly, the conduct of the jury immediately after the verdict has been brought down is a ground for granting a motion for a new trial. Because a motion for a new trial is available only to the defendant in a criminal trial. Because the motion for a new trial is available only to the defendant in a criminal trial. Anything about jure tempore must be raised by the state during the trial and not after the jury has been discharged. This means the state, in this case, the prosecutors does not have any the prosecutors sorry the prosecutors do not have any legal ground to file for retrial in a criminal matter like this. Meaning the government or the state cannot say no, we won't retrial after the official or final verdict is released. The state can say no, we object, we won't retrial. The state cannot file for retrial. That's the question. And he goes further to say anything about jure tempore must be raised by the state or the prosecutors, meaning the state lawyers, not after the trial. Sorry, not after the jury is discharged, but during the trial. During the trial, and because once the trial is on, it means the jury is still impaneled. It means the jury is still impaneled, meaning the jury is still sitting as a jury, legally seated.
Legally seated. You just still have that jurisdiction
over them. So you can file for retrial during the you can file for objection during the trial. Say we don't trust the current seller of the those impounded, so we won't retrial. Like in the Fonadi case.
When they disbanded the juror.
So the case was on. The state said no, we don't trust the current setup of the juror. Sorry, so we want retrial. Disbanded jury, and let's go for retrial. Yes, we impounded the jury for retrial, and that was done. Even if there's a stay order on the process, the continuation process. So that's what he's saying here. So the state lawyer sat there, did not file for retrial, did not raise exception to juror issue, juror tempore, and everything. They sat there, the final verdict was read, issued, authorized, and accepted by and announced by the jury, and then the judge officially disbanded or discharged the jurors, officially discharged the jurors. Meaning on the court authority, because they only impound. Thank you. for that particular case. They're done. 4, he says, sorry, 3, he says, because a motion for a new trial is available only to the defendant in a criminal trial. Anything about jury tampering must be raised by the state during the trial and not after the jury has been discharged. 4. The case cited is a criminal case which seems to have been decided in favor of the defendant after a verdict of guilty was brought against the defendant. So, I will conclude with a question. Who requested the court to investigate the case for jury tampering almost 2 weeks after the jury was discharged? How can the court order an investigation into jury tampering when it has lost jurisdiction over the jurors by their discharge? So you hire these people to work for you on this case. For those people who are in panel, they take oath for that period, that the setting of that case. When they shall have completed their work and announced that ruling, you discharge them. They are not under any oath again. They are not under your authority. You get authority to call them back. You got no authority to call them back to come and start investigating them. Because you discharge them. They are not under your authority anymore. So Council Lavia Gu is asking some sensitive legal questions here. First, who is the complainant here? Who is the complainant? Who went to the court and said, oh, please investigate, there was a jury tampering? Who requested the court to investigate this case? It can't be the state. Because the state had everything available to her in doing the trial.
Yes, before she even filed any case.
Then the state lost the case. You do not even have legal ground to file for retrial. Because you don't have legal ground to file for retrial, you didn't lose the case. You cannot juror paper.
Yeah.
The jurors have already been discharged. They're not under authority again.
Even.
So the key question is, which authority is the court acting on to order the investigation? To even summon the lawyers tomorrow, say, to even summon who is a free man legally, to summon his lawyers tomorrow, on which authority? And somebody say, yes, Chancellor Johnson should file a bill of information if they are taking deception and file a bill of information to the interpret. Which authority these guys are arguing? The case is finished, dismissed. The jurors are discharged. They go back to different businesses. They go back to work. This matter is no more under the authority of criminal proceeding. It's not under the authority. It's been, when they say discharge, it means a finish. The case is finished. Any other exceptions supposed to come from the defendant.
The defendant.
And 2 defendants who were found guilty took appeal to the Supreme Court. So in the case at the Supreme Court, you can hear you go back to the lower court. Who authorized the lower court? Who gave him that authority? Again, they are going there tomorrow for the investigation. They're not going to look for a case now.
Yeah, but what happened?
We're coming on. We just say, oh, listen, the court does not look for case.
That you can carry case to the court.
Yeah. In this
In this
case,
case,
we see the court is looking for case.
By all means.
Because the government didn't take any case to the court. The government is not a complainant here. There's no complainant. There's no complaining here. No, the former Jew because the former they don't have any legal ground to file to allege the Jewish tampering because they had the legal require period to have done that. They didn't exhaust that. 2 weeks after 2 weeks, they will start trying more. Because in the system of the Unity Party, Samuel is not supposed to be a free
A
man.
free man working
He is
alone.
supposed to be guilty.
By all means.
That's why yesterday we said, last time we told you, Tue, Ofa, Sibo, Abu Kamara, Chigo Debbie, you go buy a yellow jumpsuit, you take a picture inside, you buy your own handcuff, put handcuff on your hand, if on the day, you take your own picture, you put your hand behind you, put handcuff on it, you take your own picture, you go stay in your generator room, in your yard, your closet, you take your picture then, you can put it on Facebook. Because you people will only be happy if you guys are in handcuff, in yellow jumpsuit. That's all they want for them. Once that happens, governance is good. But is this the governance system that we want? No, I believe Mr. Blocker cannot succeed in this manner. The president may have meant good governing this country. He is his own man. He may make good, or he may have made good prior to his inauguration. It seems like after his inauguration, things may have changed, or things seem to have changed. Significant change. The train or the race car has shifted from the track. The race car that craved for 6 years in opposition, the race car, not even 6 years, was 12 plus 6, that's 14, 15, I'm about to say what I feel, 12 plus 6, 18 years. So 18 years, 12 years as vice president, 6 years in opposition, that's 18 years. 18 years this race car craved, complained that it was packed, and if we want to test the race car, we must place the race car on the track. After 18 years, this race car complained of being packed. We finally placed this race car on the track. The race car intentionally, willfully, knowingly decided to shift from the track to derail. The race car itself intentionally derailed from the track. Because the destination it thinks it was headed is a good destination that has good people waiting to interact with it, and it does not want to interact with good people. It wants to see bad things happening. It wants to see bad people. It wants to interact with bad people and use the bad people to chase the good people from the destination that the race car found itself on the track to work, going towards. So he said, no, let me derail, go meet these bad people, sit down with them, strategize, program to go towards, use a back door or a back door that will engage those good people who we perceive to be bad people and eliminate them from the society, destroy them. The presidency is intended to destroy people are perceived to be opponents. This is not the governance system that those who voted the Unity Party envisioned. They envisioned a new Liberia will be far better than the bad Liberia that George Weah was presiding over. That's the mentality. The campaign messages got stuck into the minds of those who supported Mr. Walker. That Weah's presidency and governance was a mess. It was a disaster. It was a failure. And we were coming to clean the mess. This is what we are. This is a dangerous path of democracy. Democracy, in the absence of a strong, effective, and independent judiciary, is nothing. It cannot even be considered. It cannot come close to democracy. No governance system comes close to democracy that does not respect the rule of law. What more can we say? Our counterpart, the Americans, the Europeans, they all believe, they are all aware that we have a corrupt, ineffective, and weak judiciary. For us, we are speaking this out. For the Americans, they wrote that in their 2025 security update report on Liberia. For us, we're just saying these things. But the Americans wrote these exact words in their report on the judiciary. They say our judiciary is weak, ineffective, corrupt, and lacks independence. That's what the Americans wrote in their 2025 state security review. They said the legislature is corrupt. They said the executive is corrupt. We didn't say that. Read the U.S. security review on Liberia 2025. Almost 6 months running into the fourth year. The 10 years, sorry. And we are still making wrong decisions, wrong choices, improving we are increasing our lack of respect for the justice system and showing strong signals of the corrupt nature of our judiciary. No one needs to tell you anymore that the judiciary lacks independence. No one needs to tell you anymore that the judiciary is ineffective. We do not even need the Americans to tell us that our judiciary is corrupt. Liberians themselves here know that the judiciary is corrupt. I give you an example, Junkie, please come in. Let me read for you what happened at the Glorious City few weeks ago. Few weeks ago. And these people have to take the case to the court or higher authority. You believe they want that to give us. That's how corrupt our court. You see these documents? This one is from this is a promissory note that was issued May 12, 2026. May 12, 2026. It's on TV, on the judge, TV banner, Steppenary Magistrate. This I want to call the money aspect, where they will pay $800 for simple received from let me not call the person received from brought yes received from brought the sum amount of 800 United States dollars, which Which according to how many people are working to 147,200 LD, balance 52,800 LD to complete the full payment of 200,000 LD. Code fund 200,000. I found 200,000 code fund, and this amount was paid on behalf of both defendants. It means and the court ordered that the balance, the 2,800, should be paid on June 15, 2026. It's ordered on the
That kind of excessive
so
fine fee.
they person to people too, they didn't take it serious, normal thing, they did everything. Let me just result in a call, my people call. Then the people to get his friend lawyer. Couple of friends who are lawyers to counsel us. So the friend decided to call the counselors and send his sister there and said, go to the man and let me review the document. The counselors review all the documents and say, what? You pay money? Like, did you pay $800 US
For simple assault.
for this offense? Yes. Check and place of stem.
Amen.
Now as I speak, the matter is up here at the tribunal to CFE to a superior court where they're looking to the matter. That's how brave our lawyers, our judges are in this country. They violated the law in public. The Chief Justice knowingly violated the law on nepotism by appointing his son and publicly sat down in front of camera, before camera, and justified that. The first he said there's no law. He said there is no law that stops him from appointing his son. On camera, the Chief Justice said that thing. After appointing his son, he said there is no law that stops him from appointing his son. So if the Chief Justice way up there can intentionally knowingly violate his law and justify his violation, what about a stabbing magistrate? So tomorrow we're going to hear where are you in the investigation? If there will be an investigation, I think there should be no investigation. There should be no investigation. Because there's no complaining. So who's going to investigate what? Who is the complaining? Well, anyway, I thought I was using it. So I don't know whether you have something to say on this one, on this thing, basically they are documentary.
Yeah, just to buttress what you were saying, because these things, these good minors in governance, allowed investors confidence, particularly when the rule of law is allowed to flow with blindness. What you mentioned of former Minister Samuel Twe is a case study that President Bouaka will have to change course as the head of the government, because actions that he will take, firm actions that will be taken by him as president and head of government, will set a precedence for who be minister or director to flow in the form and manner that will allow citizens to be affected positively. What is ongoing in regards to the trial of $6.2 million involving former Minister Samuel Twe is gradually showing clearly that Mr. Bouaka's government is involving into witch hunt. And it's not a good thing to do, because the president won the presidency to lead all Liberians, those that voted for him and those that voted against him. So on that note, the president need to see reason that we've passed campaign time. We passed the time when we will throw jabs at one another because it is campaign time and it is time for us to sell our candidates, our ideas and agenda. That time has passed. We are almost 3 years now since that time was exhausted. The president is the president of all of us. Minister Samuel Tue case got finally adjudicated on the 8th, of May. And just in that same period, between the 8th to this is a very important matter that I want to connect here often. Between the 8th to the 13th, meaning in 4 or 5 days' time, another letter came from the Assets Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, which shows clearly a semblance of witch hunt in this matter that former Minister Samuel Tue is involved with. Because a judgment was rendered in the first case you brought against the man regarding $2.6 million, and the judgment, all of the counts, the brother was rendered not guilty, not guilty. The angel went for a weekend to finish. Right after the weekend, soon Monday morning, you send another communication regarding assets and money that you people are trying to retrieve and go after. This is it. In fact, was it Minister Samuel Tue alone that was running the entire government? So all these things, they accumulated into what is being perceived now by many Liberians that the government of Mr. Boaka and Jeremiah Kun are just insistent on witch hunting former government officials and perceive opponents who they think are potential for, and they're now coming back to power and stopping them from being re-elected. So I'm calling on the government, buttressing what you just said, at least to allow investors confidence to open up the country for reconciliation, because it will be the means by which all of us can put our hands on deck to move our country forward and develop our lives. The president will need to take the lead as the head of state and as the father of the nation to show a sense of reconciliation by doing what he needs to do for Liberians to start understanding that we should not be divided because of politics, because politics will not go away. It will continue to exist amongst us since we are still living. There will be Austin Kawa as the head of Freedom Heart Talk for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and Austin Kawa will leave the stage. Other person will come.
Here was 20, 30, 10 years.
No. Austin, yeah, seriously. Austin will leave the stage, and probably, hopefully, I will take over as the lead host, and somebody too will step in my shoe as co-host. So that's how the stage God has set it with time for all of us to play our part, and we leave. And in this case, Mr. President, the onus is on you to provide for the direction we as a country will be headed, where Liberians will not think that we are divided because this person is from ANC, the other person is from CMC, and all of us will understand that we need to live together in peace and harmony and bring back again that once upon a time sweet Liberia, where all our brothers from around the sub-region were running to come and enjoy themselves. Liberia used to be like the Bahamas. Let us try to live with that civility, and the president will need to take the lead. That's my position on that.
I love your hope. So fresh can say "Akpere kere." I love your hope.
Yeah, I'm so hopeful.
something dangerous is about to happen, and tomorrow we'll find time to talk about that plentifully because we want to make that a whole an entire topic on the show tomorrow. You see, it's again about our laws, our procurement laws, and the LRCPA Act. John Molu is a professional person whom I have huge admiration for. But today, when I heard the Minister of Finance announcing that they have contracted John Molu to come here and provide some professional accounting services, I was concerned. And there are a few questions on, there are a few questions that initially lingered, in my mind, and I thought it was necessary that we make public these concerns, even though the official pronouncement has already been made that John Molu has been hired to come and do some professional uh, uh, accounting, provide professional accounting services here. Uh, that pronouncement alone is a violation of our criminal laws, publicly dual institutes of certain public accounting act. They all violation of those laws. Kafwan is a pronounced minister. And guess what? In that press conference, we hear Kafwan highlighting the formation of the IAA, the Internal Audit Agency, that we have to. It means Gafan is familiar with our audit infrastructures, whether it's the GSC or the IAA or the regulatory body, which is the LRCPA. Gafan is familiar with our accounting or audit infrastructure we have in the country, from establishment of information to what we have to. John Molu firstly is now a member of the LRCPA.
The Institute of Certified Public Accountants.
John Molu is not a member of the LRCPA. Just by that, he is automatically or is legally disqualified to perform audit services yet.
Sure.
The fact that the laws are clear. Two options. If you are not a member of the LRCPA, you cannot perform any audit service here. Because audit services that are performed must be signed by members of the LRCPA. Approved. You can't work here as you can't perform any audit service here. You're not a member of the LRCPA. I'm not a full audit session quick on the end. Because okay. So let me see where I can put this out quick. We don't want to pass over in and then run to us something else. But we have to erase these checkpoints so they know that you can't keep treating Liberia as a place where you just anybody can just come and do anything and all of that. We can't keep operating like that. Okay. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, accounting and assurance services. Here. So this is the uh, you see what's section 7 where it says accounting, auditing, and assurance services in Liberia can only be legally provided by firms licensed by the FICPA. Can only be provided by firms licensed by the LRCPA. Section 7, the objectives and functions empowers the institute to be the sole authority to license qualified individuals and accounting firms to engage in public accounting and authorizes the enforcement of auditing and assurance. So if Gafon is coming here, if John Molu is coming here to perform accounting services, his firm must be registered, must be licensed at the LRCP. He doesn't have that qualification. In case you do not have, it means you have to pay the amount of 200,000 US dollars to the LRCP. Not just that, but the person that is hiring you will also pay similar amount to the LRCP. Then if you have a firm, if your firm is the host country of your firm, so assuming so if your firm is being hosted in Ghana, for example, when you come here, you come here to perform the service, you will pay here to the LRCPA. You will pay to the person who is hiring you will pay, and then the country that is hosting you, the country that is hosting you will also be made to pay. Company announcing the main. The main firm is not accredited, it's not licensed. Worst of it all, the mail is from Lofa. The Liberian government is rejecting every report that comes from from the GAC. They are contesting every report that comes from the GAC. So if you're not accepting your own report from the GAC, then I mean, come to think about it. I'm like, why do we have the GAC existing? Why do we have the GAC existing? Tobo Jara, Gafon, and the man from Standard Bank.
Yeah.
They are not easy people.
Hearing somewhere.
They are not easy people. That's also Loma people, Gbani and Loma people. Gbani and Loma.
So the nephews.
Then the men they are bringing to come and perform the John Molu
It's also
is
a
a
nephew.
Loma.
It's also a nephew.
Yes. So I said to say there is no Liberian in this country qualified to perform the services or the assurance services that this man is coming to perform here. And the amount I'm hearing is something around 500,000 or more. Yeah.
Half a million contract.
But again, like I said, do something to next special, so we have to pause that conversation. We'll go into that tomorrow, and talk about it. We need you to listen to this video, this record. It's a documentary, interesting one. We the country people, we kill the Congo people in this country, we kill the Tobas, the Hindus, the Hindus, the Williamsons, the Jessings, we crucify them, we kill them on the poles in this country.
But the Kawas to be given the space.
Yeah, to give the Kawas the space. To give the Kawas, the Coons, the Kodes, the Famules,
The Moi,
the Moi, the Nukwe,
the Yombli.
the Yombli, Kanga. We kill people in this country because we want their access. We wanted to be in charge of the government, the Buaka. We kill the Tobas and the Chessins. And you saw native people clapping. Those men, the Speaker of the House, start to oppose, shot to death, only because we wanted leadership. We wanted to preside over the country. We feel entitled. We feel excluded, witch hunted. So we kill people's parents and grandparents and children publicly and cheer and clap. How many years later? We still have this kind of system that we have. Listen, simply just like very important. Oh. Yeah, some woman.
I am the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the House of Representatives. I'm also the co-chairman on the Committee on Education. I'm also a member of the Committee on Information and Cultural Affairs. Out of government, I am the president of the Liberian Federation of Trade Unions.
Okay, this is Benedict
Yes.
Talbot,
Adolphus,
yeah,
Adolphus
this
Benedict
is
Talbot.
former representative of the House of Representatives. But this is not what I actually want to play. I want to play uh, this, this one.
In the early hours of April 12th, 1980, the capital of Liberia, Monrovia, awoke to a news that would shake the nation to its core. The country, long dominated by the Americo-Liberian elite, had just witnessed a dramatic and violent change of power. President William R. Talbot Jr., the nation's long-serving leader, was overthrown in a military coup led by a relatively unknown master sergeant named Samuel Doe. Initially, many Liberians, especially the marginalized indigenous majority, welcomed the change. For decades, power had been concentrated in the hands of a small Americo-Liberian elite, leaving the majority of the
4 decades. One of our reasons for killing Talbot is that we complained that for 4 decades, powers were concentrated in the hands of the elites. Hmm?
Mhm.
The American Liberians. We complained that powers were centralized, or just centered in the hands of the elites. I don't know whether we have elites today, but let's listen.
population voiceless. Doe's rise appeared to promise a new era of representation and reform.
So those all get well. We promising you a new era of leadership, governance, and representation. Hmm? Yeah, listen.
Yet, beneath this veneer of revolutionary hope, a darker reality was already unfolding. Just 10 days after seizing power, Samuel Doe ordered the execution of 13 senior government officials.
10 days after the man killed Talbot, a sitting president, Talbot killed 10 days after. What happened? His cabinet ministers, even those who were in the legislature, were haunted, including the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Richard Henry. Doe ordered the arrest and public execution. Don't forget that we, the native people, the Kawa, Kun, Koluba, Boaka, we were complaining that power was centered in the hands of the elites, thereby rendering us vulnerable to poverty and poor life injustice and lack of access to basic social services. 10 days after, Toba was the president. He was not alone. He had people working with him. What do we do now that we have overthrown him? What do we do? Let's go for people who were aiding him. Because if we leave these people alive, they pose potential threats to our governance system. They may go regroup and come down to undermine us. So let's eliminate them. But the way to eliminate them, that's all of their public execution.
Senior government officials, men who had once held the highest offices in the land. They were former ministers, judges, and advisors to Talbot, and their deaths would become one of the most notorious acts of political violence in Liberian history. Public, swift, and symbolic, the executions were intended to consolidate power, send a warning, and signal that Liberia's old political order was gone forever. In this video, we shall shine the light on that.
Listen, we said we're doing a reflective analysis that will compare our current governance system. Samuel Doe wanted to consolidate power. Before attempting to consolidate power, he had completely on our behalf that power was centered in the hands of a small group of elites. And so we overthrew Tolbert, assumed power. After 10 days, all of the public execution of people who were aiding Doe in the governance process. Our justification then for the public execution of those men was that we wanted to consolidate power. Let's run the comparison here. Samuel Doe used public execution of key government officials allied to Tolbert, as a means or as a justification to consolidate power. The President Bouakai is using the courts to target and chase politicians or opposition leaders who are perceived to be potential threats to his re-election. So but to eliminate them, we are not using public execution, but we use political persecution. You see the difference? Samuel Doe used public execution to consolidate power. President Bouakai is using political persecution to consolidate his political base, his power. That's a strategy. Probably because maybe things have changed and all of that, technology, everything. So it's so difficult to consolidate power using public execution. So let's use political persecution, using the court as a corridor or a foundation to perpetrate our agenda, or to pursue our agenda. So we persecute them. Fanatic can be speak up. Bah, 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 bah. We respect the code. Chap, 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 chap. Bah. Bring the building. Go fire and say that you don't want to bring the building. We'll give you time. We'll go to John Weir, go search his house illegally. We'll go for Claro Foundation. We will go for Master Kimaya and Comfort Sawyer and the rest of the Mary brothers. We will go for Samuel Twain. We will give Nathaniel McGill small chance since he's in the house. The Senate. We will give Bill Torres small chance since he's in the Senate.
So you need a good.
But we are looking for the cases. We'll go after them. We will target Yeke because Yeke can cause the president. I said to say he didn't cause president before. We'll do the court persecution. And we will use the courts to rule in our favor. If the courts do not rule in our favor, we will discredit the ruling that comes from the court. Political persecution. So Doe are using public execution. President Bouakai is using political persecution, using the police to intimidate, chase, arrest, harass protesters, people who attempt to protest, to demonstrate. Whether you're a student, whether you're a market woman, whether you are disabled, people living with disability were publicly beaten by police, state security. We saw that in the ministerial complex. People in wheelchairs, crutches, beaten because they were protesting against the head leadership. People living with disability. No protest is the Latin regime. So central police is enforcing that. In capital building, you thought you disagree too much, or you thought too much, will subject you to an investigation. Ambassador Sheikh Kouyaté It's been investigated by the House.
Sure, that investigation is ongoing.
He appeared on OKFM.
Mhm.
Right after his appearance, boom, they call him to
They call
Capitol
him.
Building to investigate. As to say, they appointed him. How in the world? Where in the world you see Capitol Building investigating a member of the executive? I say they call him to investigate.
Why he should express freely?
The man works for the president. But you know what? The president is angry because of the utterances made, but the president does not want to dismiss him. So the president wants to use the legislature
To bring it
take him.
down.
So when the legislature investigates him, finds him guilty,
Yes.
and they will communicate with the president, informing the president that this man said X, Y, and Z, condescending, humiliating, demeaning comment about the legislature, and that they cannot work with him. On the basis of that, they will declare him president. They will declare him
A government
non-governmental
non-entity.
material,
Yeah.
and then the president will remove him.
Government non-entity.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. What does it say? So these things happen. I mean, these things are happening right here. Amen. But people ask not been here, but I can't tell my whole thing around, but ask not been. I can't start my son or again, man. Problem is, sorry.
To execute a coup that caught both the old elite and the international community by surprise. Following the coup, Doe became the head of the People's Redemption Council, PRC, a military government that promised to end the historic dominance of the Americo-Liberian elite. His rise from a rural crown boy to the most powerful man in Liberia reflected a combination of personal ambition, strategic military acumen, and the broader social and political unrest that had been building for decades. Yet, his ascent also set the stage for a presidency characterized by authoritarian rule, ethnic favoritism, and the use of fear as a political tool, a legacy that would define Liberia's turbulent decade ahead. Just 10 days after the coup, on April 22nd, 1980, Samuel Doe, in a bid to further consolidate his power and eliminate any potential threat, ordered the arrest and execution of 13 senior government officials who had served under Tolbert. These men represented the political, judicial, and administrative elite that had dominated Liberia for generations. Among them were Frank E. Tolbert, President Tolbert's brother and a powerful senator; Richard A. Henrys, Speaker of the House of Representatives; Joseph J. Chesson, Minister of Justice; E. Reginald Townsend, Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs; Philip A. Z. Banks, former diplomat and government advisor. Other high-ranking cabinet members, judges, and military officers tied to Tolbert's administration. These men were accused of corruption, abuse of power, and mismanagement, though the charges were largely symbolic. The executions were motivated not only by alleged crimes, but by Doe's political calculation. The men were powerful symbols of the old order, and their continued existence could have threatened the legitimacy and survival of the PRC. By eliminating them, Doe sent an unmistakable message. Resistance to the new military government would be met with swift and deadly consequences.
Okay.
The executions were deliberately public. On a beach in Monrovia, the officials were tied to wooden posts, lined up, shoulder.
This is a documentary that we are watching. The process. Everything that has been said in this video, we are seeing it.
Mhm.
We're seeing it. Yeah?
Shoulder. Soldiers fired volleys at the condemned men, killing them in front of a crowd of onlookers. The event was also broadcast over the radio, ensuring that its psychological impact reached far beyond the immediate vicinity. The method was meant to demonstrate total authority, to intimidate both the remnants of the Americo-Liberian elite and the general population, and to consolidate Doe's newfound power. The immediate effect of the executions was dramatic. For the indigenous majority, it was a symbolic overthrow of centuries of exclusion, a visible and brutal break from the past. Yet for many, the sheer public nature of the killings was terrifying, marking the beginning of a government that would rely heavily on fear and coercion to maintain order. International observers condemned the executions, decrying the lack of due process and the violent display of power. Human rights groups immediately raised concerns, and Liberia.
Okay, so the foundation has been established. The foundation has been established. Look, we have a legislature today that if you trace the historical links of majority of those in that legislature today, the parents or great grandparents may have been reared as some of these victims. But today, they are in the legislature. The question is, what are they doing there different from what we accused and publicly executed Richard Henry's for? So we used Richard Henry and Frank Tugger. Yes. Frank was in the Senate and Richard Henry was in the House.
Frank Tubber was the protein.
Yeah. So let's ask ourselves. We publicly executed the head of the House and the head of the Senate. Because our president said he wanted to consolidate power. And he wanted to end their political dominance. Their decades, the decades of political dominance of the elites. Over you in the house today, you the electorate, the country people, you Richard Kuhn, you Colette, you family.
Don't want to angry.
You clear. What the other one from your country?
Anthony Flay
Williams. What the other papa name? P. Mike Drury.
Yeah, Pima. We got Austin Taylor.
Austin Taylor.
Jim Barney. Barney. Yeah, I need a Barney. Blebo Brown. Blebo.
Yeah. We said Nimani Batikwa.
Yeah, Nimani Batikwa. Nathaniel Bawe.
The only person I know to be we are Congo men in our house that Bernard Benzing. I don't know any other Congo men in our house except somebody can help me out. Or maybe I need to think about it. A fala.
Yeah, Panga fala.
A fala. We killed Richard Henry because they all sat there all according to us. They center power amongst the elite. Today, in the house, there are lawmakers who are considered super lawmakers.
Yes.
In the house, there are lawmakers who are complaining about Tomo Fana and as the man making decision in the house. Power and authority is center in his hands, in his office. The same reason we executed Richard Henrys. Today, decisions are being made in the Senate among few people. Today, the vice president stands accused of chasing a very young Dado Piamba. Where did they? Because a Koluba. We killed people because the Kolubas were not speaking to the leaders.
The space was not
given.
provided.
Because a Funanti could not have been allowed to be speaker, to have even been elected.
Kofa.
Because a civil from Nikutan should not come near the Capitol building. Today, deep down in our minds, in our hearts, we know that these names have not done anything wrong in our country, but we are using greed. We're allowing power to overwhelm our minds, our heads, to the extent that we reason no more. We see humanity no more. All we see is arrogance, is greed, is hate, is envy, wickedness. The very verses that we executed, Richard Henry's for.
13 persons.
The very verses that we executed in Tobert form. Today, there is a female Frank Tobert in the Senate called Yombli Kanga Lawrence. Yombli Kanga, in fact, because she married Lawrence. That sees nothing wrong with removing a Yeke Koluba because of views expressed. Today, a Kanga, a Fala, a Kun are so satisfied with violating and disrespecting our laws because they do not want a Kofa. Only because he is not from their party, not because he is an indigenous Liberian.
Yeah,
I mean, an American Liberian.
Yeah, been reduced to party land.
Yes. Today, the country people remove the Congo people and kill them. They come to power, they divide, they cry for democracy. Gabriel Barkas Matthews, may his soul rest in peace. Well, they all fought. Said, let's have multi-party democracy. Even though we killed the elites, the Congo people and all of that, we executed them, but we still need a democratic system that will allow us to affiliate and alarm and associate politically and what's any other means. And our association under the mantra of multi-party democracy should not allow us to divide ourselves. Our different alliances on political lines should not allow us to grow envy against our fellow country brothers and sisters. Yes, let's call for multi-party democracy. Let's embrace multi-party democracy. But let's allow ourselves to align, to interplay, interact in the political market, okay? Without hate and envy. Today, when you are a citizen, you are an enemy of the state. The man who is the head of the CDC is a George Weah. He's not a Congo man. The man who is head of the person who is head of the Liberty Party, she is a Kanga. Put everybody down. Say, let's go to court. Bring the evidence that these people have committed wrong. Let's go to the court and prosecute. They can't bring anything. The evidence against these people is that Twe is a former finance minister on CDC. That the evidence. He's not supposed to be former finance minister on CDC. He finished his government over and he's still talking plenty and writing plenty. But that's the evidence. That's Twe's crime. Jowia can be provoking. The former president with one being, he not even there. Why he not there for? He's supposed to be angry and be talking and be running all around. But whole day he go, he play football he play basketball, he call people there. We see people from the US embassy, people from the Swedish embassy, stay visiting him. They still see him as a leader in the country, and his people are still celebrating. Motorbike many can still be escorting him to a hall, and from a hall when he going somewhere, he go to funeral, the whole church park, everybody giving him attention and giving him respect. We don't want to revere that ground. This is not the Liberia that led us, that motivated us to publicly execute from president to speaker to protest. Our Methodist bishop, then thank God, anyone was angry. I think all the country on some Sunday, he managed to escape.
A reason why he was spared.
As Benny one would have been executed too. A Baptist deacon, Baptist man, head of the Baptist convention, all of that. You know, two very Benny Warner, vice president to him, also a staunch United Methodist influential one. So we executed these people. We killed them. For what? To start chasing, or a bar to start chasing a yeke? For a coon to start chasing a kofa? Eh? For a farmer to start chasing a sibo? Is this why we executed these men? Those guys were killed today. I regret every day watching that video. Why we had to kill those people?
One of the biggest mistakes that
Yes.
were ever made.
We were wrong. We the country people, we the native people, we were wrong for killing the Tubbers and the Townsend
The CSSL,
and the Dennis
Clarence
and
Parker.
the Simpson and all of that. With the Chestings, we were wrong for killing those people. Every day. The conversation was happening the other day. My car got burned. Burned my car. And I'm meeting with all the Congo people an apology. All the country people. We owe the Congo people an
So because you
apology.
tell them the truth, so they walk over.
Yes, we owe the people. We have no reason killing those people. We owe them an apology. Because we're not doing anything different from what they were doing. In fact, we are
I
doing
think we
worse.
was
Because the country was far better than what it was. Than what it is now.
the private sector was developed.
Yes.
There was selflessness.
38, 39 years after. It was from 1979.
Or 49.
49, sorry. Years after. Where's Liberia? Where is Liberia? We are still doing the same things. So we owe the Congo people an apology, my people. All of you will have to join us tonight. We will publicly apologize to the Congo people for publicly executing them. They did nothing wrong because we are doing nothing better. We are doing nothing better.
We are even doing
Nothing.
worse than what
See
they
the
did.
Capitol building.
Reversing the progress.
Since we executed Rachel Henry, that Capitol building, the air condition, the elevator has not been renovated, has not been changed, has not been fixed. Since we executed Rachel Henry,
Yeah.
that Capitol building, the elevator has not been fixed. Rachel Henry used the elevator in our building. Since we executed him, we have not been able to put elevator in our building. Rachel Henry was in our building, Capitol building. Capitol building had running water. Running water. Since we executed Rachel Henry, we are unable to put running water in our building. Rachel Henry was in our building. That building had stable electricity. Since we executed him, that building has never experienced stable electricity. Everything was stable in our building. They had access to electricity. Since we executed him, we have never had anything stable, anything stable in our building. The question is, billions of dollars have passed through that building. Billions of dollars are going in the pockets of lawmakers on an aggregate. Same do for what you told me. Capital building is still like that. The Chinese came here and built for us a modern building. Still, we cannot have stable electricity in the building.
Even the elevator is bad.
Yes. What kind of people are we? What kind of country people are we? We are more concerned about how Osikawa criticize us instead of what is Osikawa criticizing us for? Why is he criticizing us? Can we look into why he's criticizing us? Can we make some improvement or adjustment with our governance system? Because us does not will not just get up and criticize us. There must be legitimate concerns seen in his criticism. Why is it difficult to fully electrify capital building and keep it electrified at night? Yeah, very executive marshal. They got dumb sat. They got hard out. Go to the Supreme Court, the judiciary. They all read there in circle, but cannot get stable electricity, cannot get running water in their
But
buildings.
that small space.
Get that small space. Get that circle. All are problem. Get down there. That's that. The day, let me tell you something. When you won't know that Liberia is making progress, enter capital building to use their bathrooms. Go to Supreme Court to use their bathrooms. Go to executive mansion to use their bathrooms. Drive at night in a circle or around there. Then you will know that Liberia is on its way ready for progress. Because you know what? The day you start seeing stable electricity or uninterrupted current in the buildings.
And clean bathroom.
Clean bathrooms, running water, elevators working. You see system in place. The sanitation. You see the sanitation is well organized and intact. You will know that Liberia is getting better. As long as you continue to see that space that holds the executive mansion, the legislature, the judiciary, the police, the union, as long as you continue to see that space dirty, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, once that small space continue to be dirty, just know that your country is not going anywhere. That's the face of your country. And it's so filthy and nasty and dirty like that, and you think you're making progress, and when we have so country people in power, I'm ashamed of ourselves. I'm ashamed of us. I'm ashamed of us. We embarrass ourselves to these Congo people, and we owe them an apology. And every week, we will talk something about this thing until this country boss start to do something about governance. We're fighting ourselves too much. We're fighting amongst ourselves too much and forgetting about governing the country. On the aggregate of the budget that each entity will spend after 6 years will not be more, will not be less than 20 million. But we will still not have anything stable in the country running. And the 20 million I'm talking about not on recurring expenses, not the recurring costs. We will still not have anything stable in this country. Not to be stable in the country. No social service will be stable and effective in this country. Watch the show. And you are talking about abolishing free tuition. You want to call that progress? People are building on policies, improving policies, advancing, expanding policies. You have a policy on free tuition. You come back and say we want to abolish. Look, our mindset, we are reversing. We are reverse thinkers, reverse leaders. That's what we are. Our policies are not progressive. Our engagements are not progressive. What kind of serious government comes to power? You see that the state-run university has a free tuition policy that the uneducated President George Weah was able to sustain for over 4 years. That the unsophisticated people who were in power could sustain a free tuition policy for over 4 years. And the educated people come to power. They cannot sustain that policy. And they are publicly pronouncing announcing plans to abolish it. They tells you we're making progress. If you think that's progress, then we can take course out of year junkies. We'll take course out of year junkies. But I know we're going nowhere. We are reversing good policies. We're not even reviewing the policies. We are not hiring experts to review the policies. But we are reversing them automatically. Because what? Just we are initiated.
But Austin, if you enter the Capitol building from the executive mansion side, there is a symbol right before the Capitol building, right in front of the Capitol building. In that place, you get tired there. You need to get small little water or inside almost swimming pool. You know, just to make the place find the Capitol Hill in the United States, where you get the waterfall or showcasing right in front the place. You know, just to beautify the place. Since Richie Henry Rapid, I just put this.
It's in rapid.
Send Richie Henry Rapid the bottom and put water down there again for that place to look like the swimming pool used to be. Honor Richie Henry. And let those that are in leadership show us the list of leaders at that Capitol building who are Congo people, typical Congo people. They also said, besides Brenda Benson.
But even blue that see Congo men and
yeah, blue said small Mason Postle, it would be in blue jean.
He's only born of a Congo man.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
nothing
blue,
in behavior.
Blue may have some that live by or Gola background from that bombing Kima region. Yeah. So what is the justification that Mr. Jeremiah Kwankun, who is verily from River G and Nima Kante, what is the justification he's going to give Liberians after his time of service? Is he going to shift blame again on the Congo people like, okay, more than 40 years now, in the name of rampant corruption, mismanagement, and abuse of power? Is that the justification that you'll be giving? Or the justification that after we wheel out those people who were making our country bad and exhibiting bad leadership practice, and our country was not going anywhere, after we swept them from power through the means we used, this is what we have done to change it around. Even though Clarence Parker had Parker pin, but we decided to change it around for a Thomas Fowler to have, in fact, a farm that could live from Shefflin Barracks, almost hitting Grand Bassa County. Like in the case of Cote d'Ivoire, you have ministers and directors, people in high government positions having huge mechanized farms, and they are exporting to the world, and the world is experiencing what they are producing from innovation and industrial mindset. What is Johnny Way going back to the people of Bon County to justify after giving him 9 years? Is it the same blame game? And I play when you go there at different things. Which different thing? Who is there leading the place? When you people are the same country people that cried yesterday, when our great grandparents, our parents were crying, when they were even involved. Some of you, in fact, are even in government now, even at the level of the Capitol building, were involved with changing power from that central power system, that autocratic system, and that one regime system to a multi-democratic space that you people are enjoying now. Why you need to do? Are you not supposed to tap on the ideas you already had that Richard Henry Klein Packer, uh, Townsend, your Reginald Townsend, you're stealing too much. So you know what I'm saying, you're stealing and you're just dashing the money to it with things that were not good enough for the country to enjoy. This is how we're doing it. Wherever Richard Abraham Harris will be, he will be she. The children said will be working with a physics or band. For you people are doing worst than what you accuse those guys who were providing jobs for Liberians through the Pack of People, and through the different factories and plantations they have, businesses they have around the country. They employ Liberians. Some of you even benefited from the tutorage. Some of you were raised by them. Come to power instead of coming to power with the good manners you learn along the way. All you decided to do is to turn to my face to face, to turn to the devil. Because only the devil will choose to oppress the people. Only the devil will encourage you to subjugate our people to hardship for them to be dying of curable diseases like malaria. The last time Philera killed one other lady in my community, the Praps 05 community, right here in Central Town. In Central Morovia, Philera killed in young hair. So also just here about injury time will be there. So if they did not do it right and we fought, even though the way they were taken from power was not the rightful way, it was wrong, it was immoral, it was criminal. And like Austin said, we owe those people who are considered American Liberians huge apology. And we are doing it here tonight that sorry for transgressing on your rights. Sorry for making your people to leave you untimely because our brothers who have taken the power that they take from your parents and your great grandparents, they are misusing it. They are putting monies in the budget in return for those monies after they go to those entities that they will not be useful at. They come back to them through different accounts they open for the budget that they already passed at the legislature. 50 million going to Junkies Morris Foundation. After the budget passed, that 50 million is already supposed to go to Junkies Morris Foundation. The people who put it there through budgetary apportionment, they start receiving it as kickbacks. That the only thing that the people know, for which they say they are gurus, they are super legislators, and they get experience in legislative proceeding, and they don't even have any ability to fight on the floor in the interest of the people. You have never seen them want any concession. If I say one, in the case where the concession will have the Liberian people captured in its totality, they have never. Former President Ellen Johnson said more than 68, he had problem. The international community even have problem with 66. Come to the Unity Party government on Obwaga again, the same thing is still persisting. So all of these excesses that you people are carrying out, don't you think you, Honorable Josiah Marvin Cole, don't you think you owe an apology to the Congo people as we consider them in Liberia here, quote unquote? Don't you think Dawon, Twine, Glikia, you owe those people apology? Clarence Gar, Ava Kokolo Jones. So we as a people, we need to have a sober reflection to know where we are, where we intend to go, where we are headed as a country, so that our children and the unborn generation can have a future that they can be proud of, that they will live in this country and don't have to brain drain the society because opportunities are not provided for us. So for me, that's how I see it. Because of time, I don't
Yeah,
think.
let's take few calls
Yeah, we'll
for the
just
next
take
3
few calls.
minutes,
Okay.
and then we can go home.
Sure.
0776 104 104 0886 500 104 are the numbers. Quickly, 30 seconds each caller. Just go straight to the point. Let's hear you.
My name is Otis Barkley. You know this government on which the daily government into power. They are witch hunting all the pastors, mosquitoes. Back in we are government, they are just working. They went to Finapuno. They went to yes, the past. It's hunting. They are government. That's the king of government. They are king of government. They have people of waste force. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Next person, quickly. Let's hear you. 30 seconds.
Oh, lost that call. Okay, this caller. Hello.
Good evening, Austin Junkies. This is Edmond. Thank you.
Yeah. EKC. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, you guys put it right. And if what I wish that people have an opportunity to take gun, war on the beach, line up sedition, and put the gunshot through them. What I would be a happy person. Be praying for that to happen. And that's a question we ask. Oh, the government boys did this, the government boys did that. But when the guys were here, they fought to empower people.
The very people today were all empowered by the Congo boss. Baga want to see the BA. You want to see the BA?
You know how people will go to the VA.
They wanted to emphasize them to make it to appear as they didn't behave rightly when they were here. Look at us. We are there. Every day when I speak of the issue, I will be called a capital Bailey. Capital Bailey has not become a court house. You're not supposed to talk when you talk to call you so they can answer. You see where we are headed? This is why we are saying to other us that we need to wake up. Because the 2029 is here now. You can see it invisible. What's going to happen to the 2029 is what happened here now. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another person?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
next person, go ahead. Quickly, 30 seconds. Let's hear you.
Let's squeeze in this caller. Hello. Hello. Okay, we'll leave it there. Your line. Bye. Hello. Your name is Junior from where?
My name is Victor D. Travel, community activity. I'm calling from Pakistan.
Go ahead.
Thank you guys for the topic of discussion. What I have to say is something for we use guys, especially my broker and use the party government, they are ashamed. So they try to do everything that they feel that they can bring disgrace or the former finance minister, which of course will not work. And sometimes I ask myself, why you suffer for? Because we child suffer for all of the crime, nepotism, corruption, corruption, all of the things still going on. So where are we headed? Thank you.
Man, Sisi, let's hear you. Go ahead.
I agree.
Yeah, we are okay. We are okay.
Okay, on your grandpa today again, right?
Go ahead.
Papa, thank you. So I want to ask a little question. Those people like Ethiopian body were checked for weeks. So I swear how for 3 months or what was it?
they will answer the questions tomorrow during the investigation.
Oh, okay. So for your Mauritanian speaking, then you respond to this question I asked because of the
Who
government.
my Mauritanian begin?
Your Mo Ali, your blood brother from Cape Man, don't say about it from Cape Man. I want you to call you, then you respond to the question I'm asking.
So is the Yipa can want to attack you, but you use more Ali to attack you.
They can fly down Austin.
I will attack go Ali or then to get into his senses. So to the issue, my son, what was saying, no, nobody got so bad. What we hearing that they go to call the people back and to investigate one. The problem is like hospital. So you call them back to tell them what is now, or to say what is the like people. So they all say so what you or all the were brown, so they will go back in that tomorrow do one. No, for important say was too nasty. So that they shouldn't get it today, talking about the mafia just and they just say that they play when they put are mocking a lot of people. They are mocking our country on the only water administration. Everything they say was bad yesterday, today is because why there and leave it. They for 10 years, I will be, the legislation will be far, will be far on the year finish. Nothing will go through the water. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have to go. We have to go. Yeah, we have to go.
We have to go. We have to go.
It was straight off. So why bless you?
Yes, we don't want to reach 15 minutes
Well, like the Genesis don't be.
in Anthony Stevens' time. So we'd like to say thanks to all of you for following the show tonight. And trust us, we shall be back here tomorrow with more interesting conversations
So why? The government should
that will help to enhance government
so that we are.
and caution our leaders. But until we see tomorrow, my name is Austin Kawa. Junkies Morris was here, and tomorrow we shall be back by the grace of God. Do have yourselves blessed moments in your respective areas, and good night.
The people who are so, the people love to us.